Floor plans have become a popular add-on with real estate photographers, and there's a lot to choose from nowadays. I've though narrowed in on a few. There's one in particular that has a free option. It's what I recommend, and in this episode, I'm going to show why. For those who don't know me, my name is Nathan Kuhl. I'm a professional real estate photographer in Southern California. I've shot literally thousands of homes, and I'm a big proponent on doing add-ons to help attract and retain clients. So stuff like video and websites and virtual tours, all that stuff is great. And when a new add-on becomes popular, I like to be able to offer that, especially something like floor plans, because it really is a low impact add-on that you can have, and you don't have to worry about your client then calling somebody else to fill in and potentially losing the entire gig to some other outfit to do it. So it has become, though, a popular thing out there with also builders and designers, HGTV type of group, because floor plans can get very complex, but for most real estate offerings, they really don't need a whole lot, but they do need something that's good, that's accurate, that's also fast turnaround. So I'm going to show some comparison of a few, but this video is really about one in particular. It has this free option. It's CubiCasa. I have a link to that, by the way, in the description for this video, so you can download it. It's a completely free version now that you can get at that link. And it isn't just some trial basis. It actually is free. It does have a few limitations. I'm going to cover that in this video as well. First, I'm going to show the results using CubiCasa, especially in problem areas. I'm then going to show how their service works so you can get a better understanding of some of the pros and cons. We'll peel back the curtain a little bit. I'll briefly then show how CubiCasa is used so you can get a feel for this compared to other floor plan services. I'll then compare CubiCasa though to other services that I've considered for floor plans, as well as some of those pricing options. Now, there are a few negative marks that I'd give CubiCasa. I want to be able to cover those things that you should be aware of. Nothing that stopped me from going forward with it, but want to make you aware of it, especially if there's something special that you will be doing with it, and also preparation into the field with it. Just a few things. I'll then show how you can work CubiCasa or other floor plan services into your pricing packages as well. Now, as you may know from other reviews that I've done on my channel, I won't review a product unless I would actually recommend it. I've turned down products and services from other companies, not just because that they might not have really stood the test of the review itself, but because I just wouldn't use them. CubiCasa is one that I do use, so I do recommend it, and I don't mind reviewing it here on this channel, but I also don't give fluffed up, all positive reviews no matter what. Now, just because someone has paid me to do a review, they've given me some free gear, credits, whatnot, they're not going to get just some advertisement for their product. I'm going to review it from top to bottom. That's what I'm going to be doing in this episode. With that said, be aware that CubiCasa did sponsor this particular episode, but I'm going to review it from top to bottom, warts and all, and they're aware of it, and they know that I'm going to be doing that. So without further ado, let's dive into this review. Let's first take a look at the results, which are actually quite impressive. Sure, these are just 2D drawings, but I was impressed by the accuracy. This is a scan that I did here of my house because it's got some very problem areas I want to dive into. For instance, let's take a look at some of this. I've got over here, you can see this spiral staircase. You can see this is floor 2 on the right. This is the first floor over here on the left. And if we zoom in there, we can see that that spiral staircase, that's a bit of a toughie to be able to show up on an automated floor plan. So I thought that was pretty good just by scanning it without having to do any special measurement. It also was able to then see that we've got this open to below area from the second floor. So over here, the living room has a real high ceiling. It's about 18-foot ceiling just in this section. You can see that it noticed that it was open to below as I was doing the scan walking across the upstairs. Now, bear in mind also that my house is fully furnished, closets are filled, and when we take a look at the closets, I was very impressed. Look at the walk-in closet here in the master bathroom. Picked it up, no problem. That thing is full of stuff. And it even picked up here, this is my office, this bedroom up here. The walk-in closet here, it showed up with no problem either. And there's no way you could even see the floorboards in there. It is so filled, but it was able to detect enough of the space to figure that out. Also picked up our tiny little laundry room that we have out here that goes out to the garage. But what was really impressive and what really blew me away was the garage. And like most garages, our garage is quite messy. It's filled with a lot of stuff, all my photography, stuff that I have laying around with tubes of backdrop paper and light stands and whatnot. But it picked it up as I was able to move through with our cars in it and everything else. And it even knew where the hot water heater was. It saw all the various cabinets that were in there. It saw that there were 2 garage doors, a double bay and a single bay. So I was really impressed with that. So it really didn't take much. I didn't have to try to measure it. Just using the app and out there for just a few seconds, it picked it up and did an accurate job with it. Next, let's take a high-level view of how CubiCasa works by pulling back the curtain a little bit. It'll help us shed some light on why we have some of its pros and cons. The way their service works starts with their app on a phone or tablet, like an iPhone, iPad, or Android device. That's going to be your thin client. This leaves the bulk of the processing to the CubiCasa server cloud. Using that thin client app on your phone or tablet, you then just slowly walk around to scan the interior outline of a property. Their app gathers dimensional information that is then sent to the CubiCasa servers, where AI and machine vision algorithms create what's known as a point cloud. That interprets dimensions that are used to render a 2D floor plan. So that gives you your dimensions within a space. A QA engineer at CubiCasa then inspects the floor plan that was generated by the AI, makes adjustments if needed, and then you're just notified once the floor plan is ready for download. Because of this thin client approach with a QA step, there is no real-time floor plan generated. There has to be some human intervention near the end of the process. Instead, you get floor plans delivered in about 24 hours, but there is also a 6-hour turnaround option, which comes at an extra cost as well. This thin client model makes for low impact on your device, but it also relies heavily on the CubiCasa servers, even for logging in, which can be an issue in the field. I'm going to touch on that again later. Let's show how this is actually used now. Let's actually dive into the app itself. So usability-wise, the CubiCasa app is simple, it's intuitive. They got a bunch of video tutorials on how to use it, so I'm not going to cover all that here. I'm just going to cover the highlights here. But first, be aware of just a couple things. Since this is a thin client, you need to have an internet connection to log in. You don't need an internet connection to scan, but you do need it to start the app. Scans can be sent later. But this can be a problem. If you're using CubiCasa on a phone, it's probably no big deal as long as you have reception. That way you can use the cell service to make the connection. But if you use an iPad that is Wi-Fi only, not using a cellular plan, then you might be in a tough position here, because if you're not in a spot where you can have Wi-Fi, and you're not logged in, you're stuck. That means you'd have to log in before leaving the house to go to a gig if you're going to be using an iPad that does not have a cellular plan. So one thing to think about is, if you're going to go the iPad route, is to think about also having it on your phone, the CubiCasa app on your phone, just in case you get stuck. It's something I'm going to be reporting back to CubiCasa on to see if this can be a feature that they can override. When it comes though to making a floor plan, the steps are very simple. I'm going to be showing some examples here, but basically before you start, just turn on all the lights, open all the blinds so that enough light is available for the app. Open all your interior doors to make sure you can scan as fast as possible and as simple as possible, kind of knowing your route through there. That way you don't have to all of a sudden you stop, you have to back up, you have to open up an interior door. Just open all the interior doors and then you just start walking around. And once again, don't worry about the clutter. We're not taking photos, we're just scanning the interior outline. Then you just walk slowly around the baseboards with your device, phone or iPad, tilted about 45 degrees down from about chest height, from about 5 to 10 feet away from the walls. In small rooms, that means you're just going to be turning in a circle, basically. Try to include the bottom of windows if you can. Those will then be included in the floor plan. And also, by the way, there is a speech recognition feature in their app that allows you to say a room name to define it. That way, that'll be used as the label in the floor plan. You can define it yourself instead of them trying to make an assumption on what that would be. When scanning fixed furniture, which is sinks, bathtub, stove, cabinets, all that type of stuff, After scanning the space, you can tilt up a bit to show the top and bottom of those cabinets and whatnot and counters so that they are included in the floor plan as well. And once again, CubiCasa has some great tutorials on their website to show how that's done. If you enter a small or a tight space, just step in and then back out and continue scanning. The app is intelligent enough to pick up where it left off to fill those blank areas. Don't be spinning around though. Move in, move out. It keeps then that same type of dimensional information there in the app. So you just move over and then scan back through it. When you encounter furniture that's blocking a wall, you might panic. Don't worry, you just scan over it. There's usually enough baseboard around there. Just tilt up, go right over top of that furniture. In some cases, you might have to back out and then scan the other side of the room if you're in a tight space. Once again, don't be spinning around, just move in, move out, try to get the baseboards as much as you can. The app can prompt you along the way if it's having some difficulty. But the app's intelligence does a really good job at figuring all that out. Then, when you're finally done, just stop recording and then you can send the scan to CubiCasa from the app. Talking about some of the competitors, some of the ones that I've looked at in comparison, iGuide was number one. I know a lot of photographers that use iGuide for doing virtual tours. It's a great system and it makes a floor plan. But once again, their biggest concentration is on making those virtual tours, those 3D tours. Also, there's some added costs that go along with using iGuide. You do need to have their Planix core, and you can see here that without using a Ricoh Theta on it, it's $1,600. And if it comes with the Ricoh Theta, then it is $2,700. After that, the cost, it's about $29 for a virtual tour and floor plan, but that cost is only up to 1,450 square feet. So when you start adding the other price on it to get up, it's about 2 cents per square foot after that. So 2,500 square foot home is going to cost you about $50. A 5,000 square foot home is going to cost you $100. MagicPlan was another one that I looked at that I really, really liked. It's quite an impressive app for the right client, but it's not necessarily the best option for real estate listings. The thing is, the cost is very low. It's only $10 a month for unlimited floor plans. It's a very attractive price and it is very feature rich, and it can even do 3D floor plans, but it is difficult to scan an entire house. This is meant more for contractors and builders. Scanning my house took well over an hour compared to using CubiCasa, which was, I think, maybe 15 minutes for my whole house with me not being a CubiCasa expert. But yeah, it was well over an hour using just MagicPlan. The results, though, are pretty neat, and they've got, you can see here, an app that will do top to bottom. You scan up, you scan down, it automatically detects windows, top and bottom, and that way you can make an entire 3D plan. So you can make a complete dollhouse effect with their stuff, which is pretty cool. It's too complicated for a lot of the real estate buyers that just want to see a floor plan. But if you were to be doing these type of floor plans for a designer, for a builder, you wanted to expand your offerings, MagicPlan offers this for a very low price. And yeah, there are 2D floor plans that you can do, but you have to piece each room together yourself, kind of build it, where CubiCasa just puts the whole thing together. Matterport, of course, is the age-old standard, been around forever. They provide that dollhouse type of view, some 3D plans, but its core competency is virtual tours, and that costs about $70 per month for a pro account, and then floor plans are an added cost at about $13 more for each plan. So as you go through the different plans, there are different type of like schematic floor plans, $13, lower plans about $20, but you're still paying extra to get some of these floor plans on these different packages. So it's really not their core competency, it's not really what they do. They're concentrated more on doing virtual tours. So the floor plan that comes with it is an add-on, but that's just the opposite for my next one that I want to look at, and that's CloudPano. So you know, I use CloudPano for my virtual tours. It's my recommendation. I find it to be easy enough to use. It's very accessible. The prices are great. I just pay a yearly fee on that. But they, besides doing virtual tours, they also offer floor plans. They've got a floor plan option. So if you click on that, you can order a floor plan. So it's not a floor plan maker, but you can get a 2D image of a floor plan for $25, a 3D one for $70, and a dollhouse for $54. Now this is per floor. So if you were to do a 2-story house like mine, that would be $50 for that 2D floor plan. But there's nothing that you have to do. There's nothing that you have to do extra. Once you do your virtual tour, they just make the floor plan for you and then you can tie it in. But that's not the option that I would recommend. They do offer this, that's great, but I would just recommend doing your own floor plan, and then there's an option up here to upload your own floor plan. And so with that, you would just select a floor plan and then you start marking the areas that then make jumps to your various scenes that you already have in there. So you can use CubiCasa to make your 2D floor plan, upload that image, and then use that within your tour that you're making on CloudPano. So you get basically the best of both worlds. As far as CubiCasa's pricing, once again, it's free. You can see right here, $0, $0 per scan. And that's with the no fixed furniture. That means that you don't have things like the sinks and the bathtubs and all that fancier stuff. You see down here, fixed furniture is another $15. So it comes with the 24-hour delivery. You can get 6-hour turnaround by adding $10 to it. So not bad. At least you can start working with it now. It might fit for a lot of what you're doing anyways that you need. It is up to 5,000 square feet. They do have some added cost once you get beyond that. But other than that, it's really kind of a no-brainer at $0. That's one reason why I'm recommending it, so that you don't have, there's no investment to get started in using CubiCasa. Download it, start using it. You can scan your house, do whatever, taking it on some gigs, see how it goes, see how your clients like it, and then kind of take it from there. Not everything's perfect about CubiCasa, and there are some negative marks that I would like to mention. Now, none of this has stopped me from using the app. These are things, though, to be very much aware of, where then it fits in with what you can provide for your various floor plan offerings. The first, and I've mentioned this earlier, is that there are no real-time floor plans. You do have to wait 24 hours or pay $10 to get a 6-hour turnaround. This is also the case, by the way, with other thin client services like iGuide and Matterport. There's no instantaneous stuff there, so in a lot of ways, iGuide and Matterport are on equal ground with CubiCasa when it comes to the real-time floor plan option. And since CubiCasa is a thin client, if there are ever any server cloud problems, then it would prevent you from logging in to use the app or sending scans to CubiCasa. Remember, you need to be logged in to start using the app. You can send the scans later, but you need to have some type of access to CubiCasa to be able to be logged in. Another thing, there are no 3D or dollhouse floor plans with CubiCasa. For my clients, that's not a big deal. A lot of them find those 3D dollhouse plans just annoying on a phone, which for real estate listings, that's more what you're going to be finding the users using. So the 2D is more than enough. The other thing, though, like I mentioned about being a thin client, you have to log in with an internet connection. So if you ever forget to log in before you head out to a gig using a non-cellular connected device like some iPads, then you're stuck. So to be on the safe side, it'd be good to install CubiCasa on your phone so you can use that in case you were going to use an iPad but didn't log in first. On pricing, when working this into your offerings, your add-on offerings, well, there's a lot you can do with it. One, you can just include this as bundles. The time is very low to make it since it's free. You can be very competitive. Also consider the upsell options for fixed furniture. So you could have different pricing tiers for your floor plans to show that you have fixed furniture, you have it with just the standard simple floor plan. You could then price it accordingly on that, and also be able to offer the faster turnaround option too. When you're offering these upsell options, you should be doubling or tripling the price of what it costs you with that vendor, in other words, CubiCasa. So if you're gonna have that fixed furniture, then think about adding $30, maybe $45 on top of it, faster turnaround being a $10 option, think about $20 or $30. So So you have a low priced package and you'd have some higher priced ones, and the option's always there. You provide the services. And then of course, if you really need to up your game and you're going to be working with designers or whatnot, and it's more than just a floor plan for a real estate listing, then take a look at using something like MagicPlan or whatnot, but you're going to be charging a lot more. And that's going to be based on probably a per room basis and how much work and effort you would have to put into it. But when it comes to CubiCasa, it's pretty simple with just starting out right now to see how much time it takes you, what your competitive market's using, and you could probably come a lot lower since it's going to cost you nothing to do a simple 2D floor plan without the fixed furniture, and then starting add-ons with the fixed furniture and the faster turnaround.